Next up, may I please invite Ms. Sujatha Mohan, Independent Director, Finvu. And to moderate this conversation, this trialogue indeed is joining us is Mr. Shashank, Shekhar, co-founder and head of consulting, the Digital Fifth. Well, the last segment of the day, but we're really looking forward to this trialogue. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. So I think it can see that everybody seems to be tired, right? I hope people will start joining in because that's a very critical. When you talk about digital public infrastructure, I think account aggregator is one of the critical component which is trying to reshape the entire data sharing framework, right? Is continuously keep on growing where the banks, financial institutions, as well as the users, right? Primarily they can start consuming the data in a secured and the consented manner. But is that really attain the potential that what it can be? So that's where that we'll try to deliberate in this dialogue with Ms. Sujatha as well as Sanjay. So maybe Sanjay, we'll start with you as a banker, right? Because you are a financial information provider. How do you see that? Maybe you can just give insight on the people that how the entire journey of the account aggregator you see over a period of time, and especially in context of small finance bank.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I think this is some kind of a little bit of a revolution which is going to come, which is taking its own time to come, like the ONDC platform. But I see this gaining popularity because of 2-3 reasons. One, imagine you are we run a small business. You need loan. You also have a lot of savings which you are lying in FDs or savings account, but you want financial advice. Now, what would you do traditionally? You would take out your GST return, your income tax returns, your bank statements, then go to your demat account, go to your mutual fund account or investment account if you have with some of the banks, take a printout or take PDFs and email it to them, right? Now imagine if you are sitting in your house and you have an account aggregator, you can transfer this electronically in a very secure, access controlled and very protected manner to a person who can give you advice on both. So imagine you're collecting data for like 6-7 different fields, putting them together on a single email, vis-a-vis just being able to provide your information in a limited manner, in a secure manner, in a very, and you can also control the access. You can say that I can only allow you to view it for, let's say, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and the data goes straight. And you are able to get advice on both your term loan requirement along with your financial management. So I think that is the power which comes out from AA or account aggregator platform. It's taking a little extra time, but I think everything good takes a little extra time.
Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks for initial sharing the context. So, Sujatha, I'll come to you. You have been a banker, you have been technologist, right? And probably you have seen that how the entire digital evolution. What is your thoughts and maybe initial insights that how the adoption piece has evolved over a period of time? It's the early days, almost 2016 when it started, and how the adoption part from both FIP as well as the FIU context.
In my opinion, one of the key things about account aggregator was it came on the basis of a data empowerment strategy. Thought was that how do I make the customer the owner of his own data? How do I make the customer capable of democratizing, making this whole thing about financial access either in the form of wealth management or in the form of lending easier by making his data his own, right? It came on the basis of data empowerment. It took a long while for people, for multiple reasons, to adopt, in my mind, right? One of the primary reasons was it came on in a model in which FIPs and FIUs had to understand the motivations or the incentives for their usage. But now we have started seeing a reasonable growth. The reason is the number of data points that have got added, right? Now we have not only account data, you have GST data, you have data of mutual funds, your demat data, all of that is available on the platform. By virtue of that, adoption has been slowly increasing. On a month-on-month basis, we are seeing a larger number of consents being recorded, data being pulled, and so on and so forth. Why do I think that this can only go better and far ahead? Is that it rests on the basis of the fact that it is determined by the customer's need for something, right? And when the customer wants something and he wants a completely friction-free experience. See, one of the challenges that we have when you want to lend, say, is that you have to, if you went like just one traditional step back, you would have to generate statements, you will have to stamp it, give it to the lending institution. If it is an NBFC, then you have to take it from a bank, get it stamped and give it to a lending institution and so on. Even when digitization got introduced and you got like net banking access, etc., for extracting data, the amount of success rates were far lesser than what account aggregators show today. So by virtue of all of this, it's the account aggregator as a platform is only likely to get ubiquitous and used in far many more use cases than, as we go along. That's how I see it.
Thank you, Sujatha. And before I just get continued, I think just quick announcement. I think we have a Mr. Mahesh, BG Mahesh, who is our person behind account aggregator Samati. Thank you, sir. So, Sanjay, again, continuing the discussions, right? How do you say small finance bank getting benefited by penetrating deeper into that adoption of the account aggregator, right? So that's where that more from the small finance bank.
Yeah, so I think if you look at a microfinance loan, now I was with IndusInd for quite some time and I saw how Bharat Finance, you could do 40,000-50,000 loans in a day, right? And disburse about 200-250 crores in a day. But it was all based on what? You would use your Aadhaar, authenticate, get your OTP, and then seconds later, you get your bureau report. You're able to see, what is the, outstanding of the person in some other institution. And you could, open her account and disburse the same day. So that is the power. So this is just the beginning. This was just a very small part of it. But with the account aggregator coming in, you can use it across industry, not only banking. You can also use it in insurance. You can use it in number of other things. I can think of 20 other cases. Even health insurance, you can know exactly what is the person's policy outstanding, or what is the kind of cover he or she has. So it's just a start. Now for a small finance bank, we are looking at it from two ways. One, we are looking at how we can scale it up because we are seeing there are a lot of first-time borrowers who are coming in. So that's a major opportunity for us. Then also micro enterprises. There are a lot of these small shops in tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 cities or towns or whatever villages, wherein they have never heard of anything called credit. Now, how would I approach them? Because they don't have any history. I would have to look at multiple ways to, access their credit worthiness. If I have an account aggregator, I can get their UPI full statement. I can get their GST if they have filed the GST, which I think most of them are now started doing. Otherwise, GST will not increase the way it is increasing. I will also understand their, if they have a land holding or anything, I can get access to that. So put together, I'll be able to, lend to them. For example, I was one of these trips which I did in Mirzapur. I met somebody who was a weaver, so he wanted loan. Didn't have any credit history, but I think with all these three things, we were able to disburse about 5 lakhs in about 48 hours, which is unheard of because he thought it will take him 2 months. He couldn't believe the money's in his account. So I think that was the biggest, financial inclusion I can see. Instead of just opening an account and having an Aadhaar number, this is what inclusion actually means. And if there's a regulation which lets you to share data in a systematic manner, I think this can really fly for a country like us, where GST is gaining momentum, UPI is, of course, world record. I think we can just cash-based lending and transform the entire system in the country. And that gap which everybody talks about, so many MSMEs are there, but only few get access to it. This all can get eradicated if this can really come to force. But it needs a lot of hand-holding from the regulatory kind of, from the regulator side of view. Also, people have to agree. There has to be a uniform data sharing pact. Now with this new data act coming in, I think things should change because you will be able to control what you share, how long you share, all that comes in. So I think that is where the real power will come. I think it's just a start.
Thank you, Sanjay. I think, coming to you back again, so lending is one definitely a use case where that onboarding, underwriting, but still we have yet to see that wider adoptions. What are the other use cases do you see that which will primarily create use case for the account aggregator, which primarily we see in the coming future will have a wider adoption from the real life example, because you are also associated with account aggregator, right?
Yeah, so I think lending is just one of the use cases. I think one of the other big use cases picking off right now is the personal finance and wealth management side, right? Because so many data points have got added, it just makes so much more sense to use account aggregator for personal finance management. The other area which I found very, very interesting, in my opinion, is to be able to see, as we go along, I feel that it's possible that account aggregator can become a single data exchange platform, right? Because see, one of the key things is it's a financial data exchange and it is blind to data, but it can aggregate and give data, right? Because almost everything about financials of a customer is actually getting added into the account aggregator framework. So multiple different use cases. For that matter, loan collections can be a use case, right? Today, for instance, when I was doing banking as a service, one of the key things we solved was ability to reconcile as soon as the money came into an account by sending an API which allowed to know that money has come in. So the end customer could automatically, an NBFC could automatically reconcile the account. Now, if you are able to ping and get customer data about the fact that there is balance in the account and can use it for collections, it's a very good use case to have. Can we use it for something like cash flow analysis? Right now, cash flow analysis is not very easily done, and it's being done in sporadic manner by a few payment aggregators, etc. But cash flow analysis is something very easily done using account aggregator architecture. I think as this platform matures, and if we are able to get more and more, capabilities into it to bring in, say, joint holders into the platform, or if we are able to bring in the consent architecture is, enhanced to include, say, multiple authorized signatories of the account, whereby business cash flows can be automated. There's nothing like it, right? Because you're democratizing the whole feature of personal finance, business finance in a very, very great way. So there are innumerable number of use cases I can see by virtue of the fact that we have created a financial data exchange which is based on a concept of trust and the fact that the person in the middle has no access to data and the consumer and the provider are meeting bilaterally and are able to use it. I think that's how I see this from a use case perspective.
Thanks. So I'll just pick up that one of the use cases that you spoke about, personal finance management and business finance management. This is tremendously, I myself feel that it's a pretty damn good use cases. Like as an individual also, if I want to see that what is my balance across four, because today everybody will have the 3-4 accounts, right? And the business, we are running an MSME, we have a couple of bank accounts, but we always find a challenge to look at that, what is my total average balance, to see my cash flow. But why that's a challenge that or limitation that still most of the banks has to get that PFM enabled on their mobile banking, right? It was very limited. I think Axis has just recently enabled the account aggregator. Where do you see that why the banks are lagging behind into that? And I'll come to Sanjay, your feedback also, that to get that PFM and BFM for their customer on their mobile banking.
Okay, I think it's more of
Both.
Yeah, let him answer. Because
so I
he's,
think more of a trust issue. I don't want to share my balance across. I think that is what is keeping the banks from sharing, because although I see some fintechs I've seen, they are able to pull out through API all the balances and show it in one. But I think I have not seen any bank till date is able to give you balances. I think, if I remember,
I think Axis has just recently launched. I
Which
think
one?
Axis Bank.
Axis Bank. Okay.
On their
I,
mobile
no,
banking,
I'm
they allow
not.
the
I don't
account
use
aggregator.
Axis Bank,
Yes.
but I think no other bank has gone to that level of being able to display your full statement. Get a 360-degree view of you. I think that is where an account aggregator will probably help. And if you can have a mobile app for an account aggregator, you can then
No,
put
but,
all this
if you
together.
look at it in that way, that's for the individuals. He can anyway go to the third-party platform like Money Control or any other, and
so
they can
that-
give you that,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
anyway, your customer is going and view
Yes.
that balances.
Yeah, but
Sujatha, if you like to add.
no, but you'll have to go through security of another bank, and it's quite. I mean, maybe you can probably add some more. In there.
see, actually, I think right now, see, there were issues in the beginning because of possible issues about, is my customer's data going to be protected and so on, if it is going to a third-party platform. So every FIP could have had a little bit of hesitation, which Sanjay was alluding to. But slowly, I think banks are warming up to it. Also, companies like Finvu, for instance, have started building the guardrails for protecting the interests of the FIP's customers, right? Is there a natural hesitation? Yes. But if you have platforms like the consent guard that Finvu has built, they are giving the comfort that your customer's data is not going to get unnecessarily pulled. It is going on the back of a proper consent. The consent can be revoked at any point in time. All of this, once you have a comfort, then the FIP also sees value in participating in giving. Hello. The second thing I think is also, I think as a community, everybody is working towards incentivizing everybody's participation. Many a times what happens is the incentives don't match, and sometimes people don't participate in the platform. I think that incentivization, the business model, all of that is also now maturing on the platform. So yeah, the takeoff has been slow, but slowly the adoption is increasing. So I feel that
I think if I get to know that today I have a borrower who has, outstanding against me, but he has so much money lying in another bank, I'd be very interested to, I'll have a definite information. I think I'll be more than happy to get access to that. But I think somewhere that maybe the entire ecosystem is not built to, be able to accept this. But actually, it's a very good thing, because if I am able to know that another person who owes me 10 lakhs has 30 lakhs lying in another bank, I'll be able to definitely collect. But somewhere it's still not happened. So I think maybe it's a time.
Especially small finance bank, when your FD rates are much better than the industry.
Yeah.
The person balance is lying in some other bank.
Yeah, I'll be able to pull
he
it
might
out.
not be earning that greater interest rate.
Yes.
So see, the point that I think most of the times you look at, okay, you are looking at it as a cannibalization, right? Most of the times when you talk about this, everybody seems to say that the person has balance, I will go and cannibalize. In this world of information, I don't think customers are waiting to get cannibalized, right? If I know somebody is giving better interest rate, I'll go and negotiate over there and anyway go.
True.
So, and I think that feeling of the fact that, there is no longer a need to feel like that, but possibly treat it like more like a empowerment of the customer is slowly getting realized right now. I mean, it's like if I know 30 lakhs is lying there, I can pull out the money, yeah, for a fact, right? At the end of it, we all anyway contribute to each other's success by loading in the credit bureaus the rating of a customer and so on. So why not just ensure that we keep the financial system safe by ensuring that people don't suffer on collections. Having an NPA customer in one place just means that you also will not be able to lend in the future to that customer. So,
but I think somewhere it's just not been, the crossover has not happened.
Yeah, I think that's the piece that's changing now, right? Like people realize that there is value. See, most of the times, you look at the credit bureau growth, you look at the UPI growth, it all takes one single event and then there is a hockey stick moment and you realize how valuable it is. And I think those moments are happening right now.
Interesting take. Maybe, B sir, if I request you, if he can share that his site, I'll come back to him. Sir, if you would like to add into that point in the banks trying to bring into the account aggregator on their platforms. Can share the point. So Bijay is for audience, he heads the Samati. Samati is that regulatory entity which is driving the entire account aggregator growth in the country.
Yeah. So what was the question?
No, question was when we were talking about that banks has been still not been able to pull that account aggregator and give the PFM and BFM use cases on their mobile banking.
No, I mean, in my opinion, you already have a few of the banks,
Yes.
large banks, okay, who have implemented extremely well, including IDFC Bank, HDFC, ICICI, Axis, all have implemented it extremely well. They are very, very smooth. And it has happened only because they have been able to implement the account aggregator framework. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. So, what you're saying is true, that it is extremely positive that they are able to pull. But the other bank obviously is not happy that, they may lose the customer. But it is it is a reality today because, so all the banks will have to compete for the customer. Instead of that bank being, that customer being stuck, actually with a bank or an insurance, and now they are able to port, which is in their interest.
I think probably because of the traditions that banking was supposed to be secretive and all. That's why maybe it's because of the culture which has been built. But I think slowly you're right. It will, because some of the banks are still not signed up for the account aggregator model.
No, so
but banks who are yet to sign up, we keep talking about actually banks, financial institutions, let us say.
Yeah.
See, the simple thing I say is no customer today will stay with a bank or open account with a bank if they don't have UPI. So if you go after 4 years, 5 years, you will see the customers will not stay with a bank which is not with a, because we heard about this example 8 months ago. That a few of them moved from a very large bank to another bank because that bank was not on A. So in a very less way, it is happening up. But after 4-5 years, you will see that will be the norm.
I think I remember when I was a branch manager in '97 and in 2000 when the net banking was launched, it was like a luxury thing to have. Right today, if I launch a bank or I get into banking, if I don't have 5 UPI, net banking, mobile banking, I will not be able even to start.
True,
I think there's the difference. So I think probably you are right. It'll just a matter of time when things will. I think you'll need another mic.
I was seeing that the stockbrokers' consumption of AA data is very high. Why is it so? Because he needs to know what is the balance in the account, because allowing for a trade to happen. Now, if anybody is interested in trade, he is going to insist that my account should be available on the AA platform. So it is going to be about the customer demanding it. It is not about the FIP saying yes or no. It is going to be about customers demanding it because the use cases will drive that adoption, right? So that's where we are headed. And as Mr. Mahesh said, it will be a matter of time. Like 4-5 years from now, the adoption will be different.
Yeah, thanks.
He's talking much, 4-5 months now.
Yeah, thanks. I think we could see, right, definitely lots of the use cases. Like say collections, I've been seeing that you started monitoring his average balance over a period of time, and it can start acting like an early warning signal that if his balances is dropping in, and then you take an immediate course correction kind of thing. So thanks. Just moving into that, I think when it comes to the data sharing, now the account aggregator is definitely is one of the framework entire which has been built around the security, privacy, but are there any challenges or primarily any concern from the data security privacy for the scale? When we are talking about now the future scales, that how the banks or the institutions are responding to that growth, because ultimately everything's may link to the scale also.
Yeah,
Sujatha, you can pick it up.
see, I don't think there is a security problem when it comes to scaling. So let's look at security in two parts, right? One is what security AS themselves are offering, right? They are ensuring that multiple hits to the account does not happen. Like Finvu has a consent guard, right? So they don't allow multiple hits to happen to the bank account. Second is there is a policy template available, rule framework available, which says for a given type of purpose, how many times can you hit a customer account in a FIP bank. And when it comes to scaling, as long as it is purpose driven, as long as those kind of guardrails are available, I don't see scale as a problem. And then just think about it. UPI just scaled at some humongous levels suddenly post COVID, and then it just became the only way you made payments. Banks have managed to scale their applications to make it happen. Today, technology does not limit you. Technology kind of enables you most of the time. So I wouldn't be worried about scale as a thing. I think we have enough capacity. I mean, keeping in mind I was running retail applications for HDFC Bank. You know, these things, this kind of stuff doesn't really worry you. If you're talking about security, anyway, when it comes to any third-party access, we are all conscious of, security at the API layer, and you add in all the layers of security to ensure that your customer's data is, protected. And given that account aggregators are also playing their own role, I feel that more than anything else, I'm sometimes very surprised when people talk about security when it comes to an AA framework. When you print a statement and hand over to somebody, you are actually violating yourself far more. When you print your Aadhaar and give it to somebody, you're creating more problems for yourself. So in this digital world, I can't imagine how security can be an issue given so many security tools have become available. So many efforts are being taken to keep the whole environment. People are more conscious about security, but in my mind, physical security is so much more complex, right? So I mean, at least I can't see that as a problem.
No, this is great, and especially the analogy of the scales with the UPI. I think banks have learned to manage the scales, so I think they are good. Readiness is there, right? So thanks. Maybe any input that Sanjay, you have from the security and data privacy concern?
No, I think the way it's constructed, the AA model, is that you have a consent architecture. You know exactly what to share, when to share, how long to share. You can block the access with a simple SMS. So all that is inbuilt. So I don't see a reason why it's taking a little extra time to scale up. But I think it's a matter of time. And like UPI, you needed a big, COVID to scale up. So I guess something like that to scale up, or something less destructive, unlike COVID, but definitely something which can scale up. And I think if all the banks and intermediaries come on a single platform, I think, and the data, the whatever data gets captured or shared is same, I think that will itself be a big movement for. It'll be like the movement when RBI deregulated the savings account rate in 2000, and suddenly Kotak started with 6%. So something like that is the trigger point. And I think maybe he can probably tell us more what can be the trigger point which can transform the entire, the way banks work to what it should be the way it should work.
No,
No,
thanks.
I
Arvind.
think that trigger point is happening right now, Sanjay,
Yeah.
because people are seeing the benefits, right?
Absolutely.
Like for instance, in the lending workflow in HDFC Bank, account aggregator call is embedded in all the
Yes.
workflows.
Yes.
Yeah, single owned account. So you have to be careful that you're, asking for a single owned account. But all workflows literally has account aggregator de facto embedded. You look at, say, even the Smart Wealth platform that was recently built, it had account aggregator embedded. The idea being not necessarily pulling money from some other bank to you, but just to give a better experience,
Yeah,
because
I
somebody
agree with
wants
you.
to.
I think our SMEs still need to catch up a little bit, but I think it's a matter of time.
Yeah, it
No,
will happen. I really think so.
No, thanks. I think that's good. So we are very clear that it's already on the path of scale, the adoptions, clarity of the use cases, and more innovation that we'll see in the future. So with that note, if any questions, I'll open the floor. Yeah, please can somebody help in with the mic?
Thanks, great session out there. We talked about scale and it was amazing discussion. One thing really would like to hear from the panelists is on the monetization for the AA and TSP. Because even while UPI took off, the existing players monetized more via ancillary services and not via core UPI. So how is the thinking around monetization for all the AAs and TSPs?
You would like to take it up?
Yeah. So, see, from a monetization perspective, even today, FIUs can be charged, okay, for accessing data. But the way in which this whole framework will, there are obviously conversations happening at the central, community cohort level to say how do you make the entire incentivization of all the participants on this platform to get some compensation for their participation on that platform. But A is not a non-profit making or a non-monetized business. So I didn't understand why are you asking that question?
Pleasing, how will you monetize it? How will
I
you
meant it
make
scale.
money?
Are you just saying A doesn't have any data? It is only a switch. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a pipe.
it's a pipe, right? So
I meant the likes of Finvu or Perfios, like how the monetization at scale would happen, given the fact that the prices are decreasing and all those things. Yeah.
No, he's saying that how can a company which is like into
so
make money?
So it is basically the charge that you charge the FIUs, right?
Yeah.
So what you're asking is how would a company which is a account aggregator will make money, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
think several A's also are asking the same question, but I think, look at the by the way, I'm Vamsi, I'm the CEO of Finvu. Sujatha is our board member. The A revenue monetization model is very simple. It's basically volume driven.
Yeah.
Yes, because the service is sort of a standards driven service, there is always a pressure of how do you differentiate. But we are at 150 million consents fulfilled so far. We are looking at a 10% month-on-month growth happening. The estimates are that it will reach 1 billion consents fulfilled on a TAM basis in the next couple of years or so. And so the hope for A's is that we will be part of hockey stick, and while the prices will always have pressure because of commoditization and lack of very apparent differentiation, eventually some of the A's will differentiate on the basis of reliability, on the basis of just sheer UX and engineering skill, and they'll become the preferred choice. Right?
Sorry, taking on from what he's saying, there are two ways to manage your margins, right? Like one is, as he said, differentiate yourself, like in the payments company, reliability, always on, make sure that there is no drop off. That's one part. The second is, the other effort is always also to bring down the tech cost, so you maintain your margins. But yeah, most of these things are built for volume and scale-based revenue rather than per unit huge revenue.
Yeah, even if you look at UPI, I mean, there's hardly any cost you'll end up paying. But banks pay to NPCI for a certain amount, but you don't charge from the customer. But the scale is so much that NPCI is also they're making their own money now.
Yeah.
So it's just the question of just kicking off. The moment it does, I think you will probably start seeing 2-3 years down the line listing of some of these account aggregators. That's what I'm sure everybody's hoping for.
No, thanks Sanjay, and thanks Sujatha for lovely insight and the great inputs to the whole things that how it's gonna shape. So we'll take a pause here. Thank you everyone, and thank you for visiting us at Bharat FinTech Summit, and look forward to see you guys tomorrow morning again. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, can we have a big round of applause for all our speakers? Well, I must say that we did save the best for the last. So thank you one more time to all our speakers. With that, may I please request Mr. Shashank to felicitate both our speakers with a memento. Our speakers right there, Ms. Sujatha Mohan, Independent Director, Finvu, and Mr. Sanjay Sharda, Head, Consumer Banking, Utkarsh Small Finance Bank. And may I urge you all to please come together. It's time we get you all clicked in the same frame. A fantastic trilogue indeed that focused on the real-world success stories and solutions to accelerate AA implementation in India's fintech landscape. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.